everybody. Welcome to the Urban Garden Company. I'm Dean, and I am a landscape designer. Sorry about the noise. We are also very close to the refinery, and that's Marathon Oil. So you're inside the garden right now, and my garden happens to be a French kitchen garden. And you might say, well, what is that? Well, the French call it a potager. And a potager is a vegetable garden that's utilitarian, but has more symmetry, more structure than most vegetable gardens, because they're meant to be aesthetically beautiful all year round, even in the wintertime when you have to look at a dreary garden. But the potager has been around for hundreds of years, and it involves a lot of things that we all are familiar with, such as vertical gardening, square foot gardening, and combined it all into one. The French kitchen garden is highly productive, and it is also aesthetically beautiful. And there is a little bit of a trick to that, is that by making it aesthetically beautiful, we want to be in our vegetable garden more often. Now, if you can look around me right here, anything that's surrounded in the rocks, this is my cutting garden. And in the center, this is a cruciform garden with a center point, and this is fern. I named it after my grandmother. She's the goddess of fall harvest. But because of the flowers out here, we have dahlias on the tutors, we have zinnias, we have gomphrena, we have nicotiana, daisies, cosmos, bachelor buttons, and all of these things are what make me want to come into the garden and enjoy it, and to watch the butterflies and the bees. But when I'm out here, it gets me to working and gardening and actually weeding and harvesting. So it's kind of my garden's ploy to get me out here and take care of her. So in this garden, we have many different levels. And as you probably noticed in the background, we have a small cottage. It's because this landscape has a very large building behind it, and it's a little trickery. The building pulls your eye into it, and nobody knows in the summer because of the trees that building is there. But it is also my favorite place to sit and enjoy the garden, especially with a nice cold beverage. This garden also has very tall structures, and these are called tutors. The English word for them is an obelisk. And this particular area, I have spaghetti squash that grows up to about 10 feet and usually produces about 34, 38 full-size spaghetti squash hanging pendulously. And on the others, I have baby pumpkins, pole beans, and then we also have Hall's cantaloupe this year. On the smaller areas, we rotate crops. We have peas right now that'll be coming up, and you've probably noticed some white coverings. That's because the birds love to eat brand new sprouts, and they have been having a number on the peas. But as soon as the peas are gone, then we replace them with another vegetable that likes to climb up. A lot of times we use the cucumber.
Talk about these screens. What kind of screens are these that you have here?
Oh, these screens
What are they for?
This is so that I can grow any type of vegetable on it. And for the peas in the spring, French kitchen garden, we never have to guess where things are going to go. It's so structured that every year I know I'm going to plant peas on here, but what kind of pea? Did I have a good success rate last year? Everything is very predictable, and that's what makes it easier to garden. Behind me, this is a structure with a big 4x4 post and a beam over the top, and it is symmetrical to the one across the way. I grow tomatoes on these, and as you can see on this side, the tomatoes are hanging from that beam, and we usually have tomatoes growing to 6 to 7 feet and never blowing over because of that structure.
You want to talk a little about the irrigation system you use?
Yeah, if you follow me over here, the irrigation system is such that we have a netafim pipe that's brown color here, and we have a water source in each raised bed. This is connecting pressurized water, and when I have a row crop like here, we will go ahead and puncture this netafim, and we will have a drip hose all the way down running alongside of our crop. Here we have a bunch of different greens. This one we have mesclun salad greens, and this one I have red streaked mustard, which is my favorite. They taste like potatoes. So anytime I have an extra space, I'm always throwing radishes in. These are almost done. We've been eating them like crazy, and as soon as they're gone, I'll move them somewhere else. But radishes are just kind of random. I place them everywhere. This is the structure that we use to grow our tomatoes in. It's just hanging by cup hooks on here, and I let it grow for 2 years in this setting, and then I move it on the other side, so that way we don't have damage to the roots with nematodes. So you do have to rotate your crop with tomatoes. Behind me you'll see a miniature vineyard. Because it's a French kitchen garden, we have French grapes. People say, well, what, are you going to raise wine? And I'm like, no. But if I do grape jelly and I have Merlot grapes, it's advertising. It's just marketing. It's better to have a gift of Merlot jelly than it is just regular grape jelly. Over here, you'll notice that I have evergreen structures, which make it beautiful in the wintertime. These structures are Taylor juniper, which only get 2 feet wide and 28 feet tall, and is the closest plant material that I've ever found to look like an Italian cypress. So the garden does have that feel of more European aspect to it. The Roman goddess, if you've ever traveled through Spain and France and Italy, the Romans lived in all of those areas, so you're going to find Greek gods everywhere. So I thought we needed to have one in our garden. We have a little outhouse over here. That is my potting shed. It's really to house garden tools and such, and in front of it we have a strawberry bed. Over here we have a beautiful hedge of Red Lake currants. They're a little bit bushy right now, but as soon as they're produced, which will be in about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, they'll be brilliantly red. Last year we harvested and had about, I would say, 4.5 gallons of juice off of these. And then we make Christmas gifts, and we make it with jalapeno jam and have a nice, sweet, hot jelly. But I prune these down after their production of fruit, and then they just are a beautiful hedge again and not so much in the way. Over on the other end, we have honeybees. I've been a beekeeper since I was 12 years old when I lived by Yellowstone area, and I just brought them back here in the city, so I still get to live very urban and live very rural at the same time. This area here you can see I haven't got to. We still have weeding to do, and we have our rhubarb and a small little orchard. We have 3 different apples, and at the end, in the shady part next to the big building, I did some choke cherries, which are really loaded this year and starting to lean over. I'll have to tie them up. But again, that makes a really good choke cherry jelly, and it makes an incredible wine. The currants, the choke cherries, the gooseberry, the rhubarb, some of the apples, all of these are very early Mormon pioneer plants. And this cottage is actually, that I have my office in, is an early Mormon pioneer building, 1865. So I wanted to pay tribute to having a French garden and mix it with early Mormon pioneer. If you've ever been to the center of France or the center of Italy, it looks just pretty much like Utah. We're hot and arid. We have colder winters than they do, but if you ever think about what we want, I would look towards the Mediterranean for advice. Well, let's say goodbye, and it's starting to rain out here, so we're gonna wrap it up and go inside where it's warm. Take care. Thanks for stopping by and visiting with me in the garden. Bye-bye.